Here in Southern California, the AUDL rivalry may only be in year 2, but San Diego and Los Angeles have already built up plenty of head-to-head animosity. These are two teams that don't like each other, and they reunite tonight on ESPN3.
Kobe retiring, yeah, it brings out all the haters, and the same hate that those haters have for Kobe, I have for San Diego.
The Growlers and the Aviators are remarkably similar for how much we hate each other. It's actually kind of ironic.
I think I just compete. I never stopped competing. I just, like, old school, kind of blue collar, hard work, just compete until the end.
Gorgeous Saturday night here in San Diego, a beautiful city and a beautiful stadium here at Balboa Stadium as the Los Angeles Aviators get set to battle the San Diego Growlers in our AUDL Game of the Week. And good evening, everybody. Delighted to have you with us. I'm Evan Lepler with Chuck Kindred. These are two teams that have already played 6 times, so Chuck, familiarity has bred contempt. 16 career games for these two franchises, 6 regular season meetings. They've split them 3-3, and they don't like each other too much as a result of it.
No, they don't. I mean, this is a rivalry that's been going on for years. 2 SoCal cities. Who's the best in SoCal? We're going to find out tonight. But, yeah, make no mistake, these guys see a lot of each other in college and in club, and they are sick of each other.
4 of the 6 meetings have been decided by 1 or 2 goals, including last week when Los Angeles nearly let a huge lead slip away, but the Aviators held on to win by 1. And Los Angeles has a bunch of new players that we'll talk about throughout the night, but one of the old guard, a champion in this league, is Mark Bogan. He's a second-year Aviator, a true downfield game-changing threat.
He is. He's so tough. He can do all the different things you would want out of an offensive downfield cutter. Great throws, great breaks. He can hit the deep ball. He can possess the disc. And he's just such a threat. You have to give him the under most of the time.
And with San Diego, Steven Milardovich kind of is the Bogan for that team. Downfield, really dependable for the Growlers.
He is. This guy is coming alive in the last couple of years here, and he's tough. He plays great D, but, I mean, really, he showcases his talents, I think, on the offensive side of the ball.
Steven Milardovich leading the Growlers against the Aviators tonight. San Diego has lost 2 games this year by 1 and by 2. They need a win tonight to avoid an 0-3 start. The opening pull is coming up next.
Travelers have always come to Motel 6 for great service and the lowest price of any national chain. Now we're renovating nationwide with a fresh, modern look, so you'll see us in a whole new light. I'm Tom Bodette from Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Imagine you're in a new town for a couple of days, and you find yourself wanting a bike. Use SpinLister to rent any kind of bike in your area in over 55 countries. Have an unforgettable adventure while saving up to 40% on rentals. And whatever you do, don't forget to enjoy your ride.
Early recognition is critical. Teaches middle school PE classes about ultimate Frisbee and cancer symptom awareness.
We're a registered nonprofit that advocates for an active, healthy lifestyle, body awareness, and speaking up if something is wrong.
Skills that, when it comes to cancer, can help save a life. Ultimate is a fast-paced team sport that's self-refereed, non-contact, and co-ed.
Spirit of the game is the foundation of Ultimate. That means we communicate respectfully, we're fair-minded, and we enjoy the game.
Ultimate is accessible to everyone. All you need is a Frisbee and some friends. Our team of coaches is made up of experienced and passionate leaders from the Ultimate community.
We teach kids that playing fair is more important than winning.
We can come to your middle school and run your PE classes for the day. And if we're not in your area yet, we'll send you our clinic in a box, where we give you the resources to run your own.
Ultimate Frisbee is one of the fastest growing sports in the world.
Teachers and parents love Ultimate Frisbee.
We are Eric!
And we want to work with you and your school.
It is a picture-perfect Saturday night here in Southern California, and we're delighted to welcome you back to Balboa Stadium, where the Growlers and the Aviators are set for game number 3 of their respective seasons. The Aviators and Growlers both suffered an overtime setback in week 1, falling against the favorite out west, the San Francisco FlameThrowers. They're the only team in the league that's 3-0. San Jose 1-0 as the FlameThrowers and Spiders meet tonight as we look at the West Division standings on the verge of the opening poll here in Southern California. The Aviators are 1-1. The Growlers are 0-2. And Chuck, because of the Growlers' first couple of weeks, you got to say this is a very important game for them to try to get that first win and break the ice in 2016.
I think so, and you know, it's not a very long season. You can't really afford to go down 0-3 and try to rally back. We're getting a look now at the West Division standings here, but you can see the Growlers, you don't want to fall behind too much, especially with 2 powerhouse teams at the top and only 3 spots to the show.
FlameThrowers were very impressive last weekend in knocking off the Seattle Cascades. Seattle is in Vancouver tonight, and that's an important game for both of those teams. Seattle trying to snap their 2-game losing skid, and Vancouver trying to get their first win of 2016. Well, it's appropriate that on the day that 7-game playoff series are beginning across the world of basketball, this is the 7th game of the Growlers and Aviators series, and it could not be any closer. Eli Friedman made big news this week as the Aviators signed the former Callahan Award winner out of Oregon. He's still meeting a lot of his teammates, but he'll be on the field tonight. And in the 6 previous meetings between LA and San Diego, both teams have scored exactly 123 goals. That's how close it has been through the first 6 games.
Pretty fun pickup to grab Eli Friedman after the season starts. You know, a guy like him, you add him into the mix, it's going to take him a week or 2 to get used to his teammates and fit into the system, but what a dynamic player, what a talented young athlete. And really, he doesn't have a lot of miles. You know, he's been traveling, he's been working in a couple different capacities in different parts of the world, and I know he's just itching to get back out here and, you know, size himself up, measure up against some of these hot young competitors.
He's as curious as anybody how he will look and how he will mesh with his new teammates. So the Aviators will be in the white. Familiar names like Tyler Bacon, Jeff Silverman, Mark L. Bogan, AUDL champions a couple years ago. And in fact, tonight's the night that Michael Keoy returns to the field for the first time in an Aviators uniform. Keoy tore his ACL about 15 months ago, and he's back tonight. And we'll see how he looks. He won a title 2 years ago with the Spiders. Served as an assistant coach last year, but you know he's been itching to get back out there.
He has. You know, congrats to him on a long rehab and coming back successfully, ready to run here. You know, there's a couple guys that look a little bit reinvented out there. One of them is Jeff Silverman. He looks like he's been in the gym. He's always been kind of a skinny guy. I saw him walking out onto the field. He looked pretty fierce this year. I would have to say he's been lifting some heavy weight in the offseason. He looks like he's ready. He's durable. He's explosive. I've always been a huge fan of him and his playmaking, especially on D.
He's usually good for a highlight or 5 every night.
That's right.
The Aviators unleash the opening pull, and we are underway here at Balboa Stadium. Fantastic to have you with us as the Growlers center the disc to Cody Kirkland. And the first throw to the open side, Dom Leggio. And the first deep shot looking for Griffin will be too far. Travis Dunn with a turnover. Now, when these 2 teams met last week, Chuck, in Los Angeles, the final score was 21-20. But in the first half of the game, it was Aviators domination. San Diego coach Kevin Stewart talked about how they didn't come out well at all last Saturday night.
That's right. LA came out with a lot of fire, and it's tough sometimes for teams to match energy, you know, early in the game, early in the day. And LA definitely came out and made a statement early last week.
Silverman's throw off Bacon's hands, incomplete. And Leggio marches off the contact foul. Dom Leggio, one of the first points of the game last week, got accidentally spiked in the ankle by Los Angeles' Zach Shackner. Leggio went on to complete 57 of his 58 throws anyway, despite the fact that he went to the hospital after the game and got 8 stitches in the back of his foot.
Now, Evan, you're a Boston sports lore historian, right? Are we going to have another Red Sox game similar to
the bloody sock?
The bloody sock.
Last
Schilling
week,
scenario?
Leggio played most of the game with a bloody sock.
Interesting.
And he picks up his 6th assist of the season, connecting with Nathan Bridges here in the opening minute.
He's really come on strong this year, hasn't he? Dom has, taken a step up. He looks confident. I think he's, maybe not an expanded role necessarily, but an expanded leadership capacity. With some of the big name talent going elsewhere this year from San Diego, it's opened up, a lot of these homegrown products to come in here, really lead by example during the game, after the game, during practice, and Dom's a guy that I know the coaches are really happy with.
First offensive point for Los Angeles, and there's Jack Marsh, who last year was with the New York Empire in the East Division. Alan Lai, the center handler, to El Bogan with his first touch. Stephen Brooks has taken a larger role this year for the Aviators as well. 4 goals in their first 2 games. They call him Zodiac. He's number 6. No stall count, and then the reset to Marsh. You like the patience here from Los Angeles? Or not?
Or not. Wow.
Tremendous layout D by Zeke Ivers coming through for his first D of the season.
It was good defense downfield and really a good containment on the mark. They weren't allowing the break side to open up, and it paid off for them. They forced LA to throw onto a crowded open side and a great layout D.
There's great footwork on the sideline from Steven Milardovich. A plethora of young talent on both these teams, but it's amazing. The Growlers in particular have taken from the college scene. Zeke Ivers, an example of that. Currently with San Diego State, and he's played high-level club for the last 3 seasons. Swinging to space and chased down by Milardovich. The Growlers on the brink of a break, and there it is. Travis Dunn with the score, and San Diego leads 2-0.
Wow, big point from Milardovich there. I mean, he's such a complete player. He's really grown up before our eyes watching him in the AUDL, and you saw him get a really tough kind of up the middle, flat flick huck right past a bidding defender. I mean, I was kind of eyeing the mark, seeing how it's set up, and Eric Listner of LA almost got a foot on that huck. He had to kind of change the release, make sure it got to where it was going, and the whole thing just was set up by number 12. And he earns the assist at the end as well.
Milardovich has been a stat stuffer so far this season. That's his 5th assist. The Growlers with a quick break to go up 2-0. And here on the field now for Los Angeles, Eli Friedman playing his first point ever in the AUDL. There is the former Callahan Award winner with the disc. Bullet upfield, connecting with Marsh. And he'll launch deep. El Bogan in the area. And it is knocked away by a slew of brown jersey Growler defenders. I'll give Mark Slater, another San Diego State product, credit for the D. And it's bookends for Slater. Benton picks up the assist, Slater the goal. And despite an early turnover on the Growlers' first possession, since that one mistake, they have played flawless in these opening minutes.
Yeah, and they're doing it with defense. Lots of pressure downfield, really difficult looks. And, you know, we saw this disc get popped up. Jack Marsh got the open side look and then tried to throw the break huck, just didn't get enough on it. And it's been a lot of that from, you know, for LA on offense. They just haven't had good looks, had to make low percentage shots, and San Diego happy to accept their turnover.
We were both down on the field before the game, and there's a good look at Jack Marsh, who will only be a part-time player this year for the Aviators, but he's playing in his 3rd straight game to start the season. Jack, the Harvard graduate, went to law school at Wisconsin, won a national title with the Wisconsin Hodags in 2007, and has crafted a very interesting life as the artistic director of a circus that's based in St. Louis, a place that he's worked most of his life, that his mother worked at as well when he was just a baby. On the sideline, nice job there by Theodore keeping it in bounds. Bellinger. Off the hands of Severson, playing in his first AUDL game. Growlers going for it all right here. And there was just a little too much on the throw from Ivers.
Chris Lou, young player, doing what the coaches always tell you to do, and that is never quit on the disc. He put a bit on that even though he must have been 2 feet away from it.
Keogh's touch connects with Severson. Here's Bellinger. What are you seeing from Los Angeles in terms of their downfield cutting right now, Chuck?
Well, they're a little flustered. They're not getting the looks they're hoping for, and the break side really doesn't seem to be available, at least not so far. So they look a little out of sync. I mean, that's kind of what happens. You get shut down, 1 or 2 cuts. You get looked off a few times, and everybody starts to kind of look to each other to say, I don't know what to do. Maybe you should cut. Maybe I should cut. And you're starting to see that they don't look like they're really in flow right now as a unit.
Which is unlike how they started the game last week. On the first half, 15-7. Led 19-12 after 3. And there was a pick called in the end zone, so Los Angeles will walk back 10 yards. Referees in the game today: Matthew Whited, Carlo Mosca, Marvin Vong, and Brett Schellenberg. 4-man AUDL crew. And the patience pays off as the Aviators get on the board. Took them more than 6 minutes to do it, though. Zach Theodore catching the first Los Angeles goal.
Yeah, great point by him to toe the line, to keep that one disc in bounds, and then to get open on the end zone. Just a high percentage. Look, that's what they need. They're a little jittery. They need to break the seal here and get on the board. I think LA is going to settle down here and probably have a pretty productive first half, but man, there's no harder goal than that first one.
Alexander picks up the assist, his first of the young season. Aviators were certainly very pleased with their performance last week, and a good weekend got even better on Monday when they officially signed Eli Friedman for the rest of the season. But the interesting thing is, Chuck, while one great player comes in, another departs. Hussein Carnegie probably played his last game of the year for Los Angeles last weekend. He just left town for his PhD program, and he's not sure if he'll be back on the field again this year.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but I think PhDs do take a little while. But we'll see.
Contact on the mark, and Jesse Cohen will mark off the 10 yards.
We've seen a couple double teams here early in the game. Quick look on the last point by San Diego, and now on the sideline we see lots of pressure here from LA. They got to be careful. They might get called for a triple.
San Diego, has been flustered at times the first couple weeks of the season by that double team. If they had handled it better in week 1, they probably would have knocked off San Francisco. Kirkland playing catch with Cohen up the field. And it's knocked away. Great handler defense there that time from Andrew Padula. That was the scouting report on him, talking with the head coach Franklin Rowe before the game, praising Padula's handler defense. Silverman gives a safety foul. Alexander swings it for Bellinger. Silverman found a gap and picks up the assist. It's a break for the Los Angeles defense.
That goal set up by Dan Bellinger's IO flick. That's one of his go-to throws. He's really got it dialed in, and his teammates know when he gets the disc with a little open side to look at, he's going to look to hit that IO. So here's the defense on the dump. So quick, you know, great explosion. Here's the IO look from Dan Bellinger. He's only looking for one thing, and Silverman, longtime teammate, knows exactly where to go, and they score to the break side there.
Simon Evans with the goal, his third of the season. UCLA product. Look at that, we got a ESPN3 sign. Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
That's a long ways.
That might be the Brent George family, Pennsylvania native. Brent George has been a real big addition this year, quietly leading the Aviators in goals the first 2 weeks of the season. One of the last guys cut from the Aviators last year, but made the team this year and has been Mr. Reliable, as Mark Elbogan told me before the game. Matt Parisi with a touch. Good pressure, but hauled in by Bridges. And just jamming it up that far side, the sideline. Travis Dunn finds Milardovich.
Tyler Bacon baiting the deep shot there, looked off, perhaps wisely.
And great pressure again from Zach Theodore.
And Zach Theodore, one of the most unassuming guys. And here's the trap on the sideline. Let's see how LA can handle this. They've got two guys on the sideline trapping and a no-dump defender behind the disc, forcing them to look up line, and there's just flustered them. It really worked.
The stall count moves a lot quicker when you're double teamed on the sideline and your first idea isn't open.
That's right, you really don't have that much time.
Milardovich shoots it to the end zone. Travis Dunn with the score, his second of the quarter.
So once again, we're seeing defense leading to offense for San Diego. They made a little bit of a gamble there, double teamed, dropped one guy back. So really they have three guys loaded up on the disc, but it pays off. The stall count's 7. It's a silent count, so a lot of times guys really don't know where they're at. They panic and they turn it over. And it's more beer for the Growlers.
Good shot of the nice outside in flick from Milardovich, who's got 2 assists in San Diego's first 4 goals. Busy day in the AUDL. 9 total games on the schedule today. Of course, last night, Chuck, I'm not sure if you saw, Detroit and Cincinnati went to the brink. They played double overtime, and the Mechanix got their second win of the year in dramatic fashion.
So cool. So happy for the Detroit franchise. And just, you know, this city, I feel like the franchise in some ways resembles that city right now. Going through a rebirth, lots of positive energy. And it's just an exciting time for Detroit.
Meanwhile, very tough loss for the Cincinnati Revolution as they fell to 0-3. Last I saw, Indianapolis giving Madison a very good game right now in that division.
And Indy's so tough. It's so easy to kind of underestimate or scout and think you've got them figured out, but they are such fighters and they're just so gritty. I love watching Indy.
Elbogan looking to the end zone, and it's caught for a score. Brian Wynn using his quickness to get open. Elbogan picks up the assist.
Yeah, you could just see his acceleration. It's really on another level for most Ultimate players. This guy in a straight line can just torch you. And you know, one of the cuts that's really effective for guys with top speed is just to start behind the disc on the break side and cut up line. Just turn it into a sprint up line. Bo used to do that all the time. And you can see how far away Stig was by the time he makes the catch.
You get the sense, I mean, you brought up Bo, so I want to ask you a question about the shadow that he has cast on this West Division over the past couple of years. How did the announcement of his departure to Dallas, along with Cassidy and Jimmy Mickle, a former Growler, Kurt Gibson, big for the Growlers last year, how did those departures just change the flavor of this division?
It really can't be overstated. I still, I'm still picking San Francisco to win. I still see a champion coming out of the West, but I'm an idiot for doing that, because anybody who bets against Bo is probably going to lose. That guy's just been, a force of nature. He's just had a gravitational pull for winning for the longest time. And when he leaves, I mean, yeah, it's a tectonic shift.
It is interesting to me how those departures kind of made everyone else a little bit more optimistic too in this division.
Right, and honestly, the matchup I'm so excited to see is Dallas against Jacksonville. I'm a big Jacksonville fan. I'm glad I don't have to play against them. But they're so talented, so physical. I think Misha Freistatter is probably top 5 in the league, easy.
Contact on the catch. San Diego already across midfield, will march off 10 more. Yeah, you mentioned the Cannons. They got their first win of the season tonight, winning at the Bulls School in Jacksonville, 31-22 over Nashville. It's the second team in the league this year to score 30 or more goals in a game. Right up the sideline into the grasp of Bridges for the goal.
It's an interesting scenario. I was talking to some of the San Diego guys before the game, and they get ready for this matchup because LA can play pretty physical on defense, and not necessarily dirty, but physical. They're going to bump you. They're going to make you feel them on defense. And that's kind of what Jacksonville does, and some guys really don't respond well to that. This is ultimate Frisbee. This isn't football. This isn't rugby. These aren't contact athletes. And some guys really don't respond well to getting bumped. So it can be just kind of an interesting poll to see, does this guy get better or worse when I bump him? Just see. I mean, if you're already losing, if you're playing a guy like Kurt Gibson, you might as well get in his shorts and see what happens, because you're going to lose. It's Kurt Gibson.
Well, it's interesting. You talked about the physicality in the South Division, but Los Angeles kind of prides itself on its physical defense too. And their assistant coach, Steve Dugan, who's a legend in California with his days in Santa Barbara, he's an assistant coach and defensive coordinator right now, and stresses the aggressive dump coverage to try to force 50 discs downfield.
Right, sometimes just making guys work for all the easy resets and all the open side cuts, just making them work a little bit harder. I mean, it really pays off in a game like this. This is a couple hours, lots of reps. And if you can mentally exhaust the guy and just let him know there's not going to be any easy catches for him, eventually you just start to see it where you see guys start to break. And Steve Dugan knows that better than anybody. I mean, he's a hero for so many of us that played in California.
Errant toss over the outstretched reach of Marsh. Closing into the final minute here in the first quarter. Xavier Ching centers the disc. Milardovich. And a whistle and a timeout called. So the clock will stop with right around 43, 44 seconds to go in this quarter. There's Kevin Stewart. He's been playing this game for a long time too. Started playing Ultimate in 1989 in New Jersey because of his older brother. He picked it up at Delaware, a school he attended on a swimming scholarship, but Ultimate kept him in shape and has given him an incredible life after college. He's coached the UC San Diego team since 2007. And a guy who's really put a lot of time and thought into trying to transform this Growlers team. A franchise that last year, Chuck, got off to the slow start. They started 0-5 despite all the expectations. I think one of our AUDL analysts even picked them to win the championship.
Yeah, it could have been anyone. We'll have to go back into the archives. But yeah, I mean,
but then they won 7 of their last 9 games and really closed the season strong.
Well, it kind of illustrates, the point that, this is kind of what Dallas is up against this year. Is they need to get good fast. They need to win right off the bat. And they certainly can do it But last year, that it sort of just seemed like the recipe for success was right there. San Diego's got the talent; they're going to win right off the bat. It's just not that way. You know, teams that have played together before tend to outperform really talented teams that are just thrown together mishmash.
See what San Diego dials up after the timeout. Kirkland dumps it back to Leggio. They play a little 1-2, and Leggio now in power position. Wide open underneath was done. Needs help.
30 seconds left.
Now an interesting dynamic. They were having an issue with the stadium scoreboard clock before the game. So down on the field, the referees are shouting the time, and here in the press box, the public address announcer shouting that as well. Clock, of course, stops on a whistle in the last 30 seconds. Leggio was fouled late on the mark. Zach Shackner, who has been battling with Leggio for a long time. Those two really competitive with one another. So this is an important possession here for San Diego, trying to tack on another goal in the final seconds of the quarter. Silverman closing and makes the incredible layout play. Jeff Silverman, ladies and gentlemen. Final seconds of the first quarter, trying to beat the buzzer. It's well short of the end zone. San Diego launches one full field now. It's deflected and caught in the end zone by Ryan Slaughter, and the officials are counting it down to the field. Holy cow.
Wow, he couldn't get a look at the time, but nice heads-up play by San Diego. Holy smokes.
Ryan Slaughter off the deflection makes it 6-3 at the end of the opening quarter.
At the end of the first quarter, Growlers pull ahead, 6-3.
And it's a tough break for the Aviators. Tyler Bacon thought he had a D.
You can see Silverman in the foreground after getting a massive layout block to save a goal. San Diego gets it right back. So 6-3 in the first quarter. That's a nice start for San Diego. And like we said, they need this win.
Aviators need to regroup. Growlers by 3 at the end of 1.
Imagine you're in a new town for a couple of days, and you find yourself wanting a bike. Use SpinLister to rent any kind of bike in your area in over 55 countries. Have an unforgettable adventure while saving up to 40% on rentals. And whatever you do, don't forget to enjoy your ride.
San Diego in front of Los Angeles 6-3, 1 down, 3 to go here at Balboa Stadium. Right in the middle of downtown San Diego. Great location. Had a nice stroll around downtown San Diego today. Walked down to the port of San Diego. Walked past Petco Park, where the Padres are hosting the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. Site of the Major League All-Star game this summer, Chuck.
Yeah, one of the greatest cities in the country. And look at this D from Jeff Silverman. And 1 quarter of Ultimate almost went by without him making an incredible play, but not so fast. But look at this last play. Tyler Bacon does everything he can, gets the block. Nice heads-up play. San Diego puts 2 guys on the disc and gets the goal to end the first quarter. But that was a pretty fun first quarter, I got to say. SoCal rivalries in full effect. These guys are out for blood. You saw some physical D. You saw some big playmaking. And so far, San Diego has all the answers. They've got the best D right now. I mean, they're really pressuring LA.
Well, they started off with a hold and then tacked back-to-back breaks together, led 3-0. And basically, we've been trading scores since then. Lardovich, the team's leading defender a year ago, will launch the opening pull. And one of the interesting dynamics for the Growlers is the fact that last year, guys like Mickle in Gibson and Lance and Ackley at times overshadowed the Milardoviches and Leggios, the established San Diego talents that weren't as well known nationally. This year, though, those guys are getting their due, in part because they're stepping into slightly larger roles, in part because, you know, those guys like Mickle and Gibson aren't stealing the spotlight.
It's funny when you ask guys like Jimmy Mickle and Josh Ackley and all these guys who we should be watching on San Diego, they were all saying the same guy. It was Milardovich. And you and I said, wait, what? Don't you mean Kirk Gibson? Don't you mean you? And yeah, they knew. And the whole, you know, the franchise knew, but luckily we're all getting to learn that here firsthand.
Stephen Brooks enters the disc to Jack Marsh. Little gap through the defense into the hands of Brent George. What are you seeing from the San Diego defense here, Chuck?
Well, there's not a lot of wind, and they're trying to play junk. They've fallen into man here, but not easy. Not easy to do against a team with solid handling core.
Yeah. Tic-tac-toeing their way down the field. El Bogan caps off an easy offensive score for the Aviators.
Yeah, watching Jack Marsh and Tyler Bacon play together, these are two guys that are very, very talented, very successful, but haven't played together that much. And I think, you know, when you're playing offense, it's all about chemistry. It's all about high percentages. And that can be a real troublemaker. Certainly all these throws, all these plays are within the reach of these players. But it's just a question of whether you can do it when it counts, whether you can do it together as a team. And LA's still got to integrate some of those pieces.
Mark Elbogan, class of 2010 at UCLA, works as an engineer in Santa Barbara. Rumor has it he's a great bowler in that he's once bowled a 300 perfect game.
Wow, not a lot of people have done that. And if he has, he's got a ring, I think. Isn't that how it works?
I wouldn't know. I've never come close to a 300 myself.
I had a roommate named Matt Meem, who's an LA legend, who bowled a 299. He had a ring that said 299 on it. Of course, maybe he made it.
That's got to be pretty painful to bowl that 299.
I'm sure, but if you met Matt, it makes sense.
Looking for the long shot. Good battle here, and a nice job by San Diego's Nathan Bridges, reading it well, boxing out his defender, and scoring the goal.
Yeah, crafty play by him. Keep it high percentage. Don't turn into a jumping contest unless you have to. So watch him. He gets a step deep. The throw goes up. I mean, it's a lot easier to throw deep when you throw early. So a lot more room for error. And look at this just physical position play there. Gives up a couple inches on his defender, but Bridges just makes it easy.
Third goal of the game for Bridges. Arizona State product. A high school basketball player. You can see that in the battle for position in the end zone there. This time Eli Friedman will serve as the center handler, a position that they're still kind of looking to cement. You know, last year it was Stephen Chang who kind of took that job, and like we talked about last year, felt he was a little miscast in that role. Chang now back with San Jose, whom he won a title with 2 years ago, as more of a defensive-minded downfield cutter. But the Aviators are a team that have a lot of athletes and cutters. They're still looking for someone to be that center handler type, and they hope that Friedman could perhaps fill that job. Once they get things started, they're usually in pretty good shape.
That's right. There's this nervous moment at the beginning of one of these points where you just need the guy to be solid and you need everybody to trust him, and that's kind of what you're trying to find. You're trying to find the guy that when he's got the disc, everybody's confident in him, everybody calms down, knows what to do, and the offense just goes. And I swear a lot of that is just presence.
Another goal for the Aviators, and it's the first AUDL goal for Eli Friedman. Recently moved to Los Angeles. He's taken over a job as the environmental compliance director at American Apparel. A guy who has a master's in environmental law and who has lived much of his life over the past half-decade off the coasts of Malaysia and Hawaii and Alaska and the Mexican Gulf, working on oil rigs, overseeing environmental compliance. He has not stayed in great shape doing that job. He says his quarters are small, but able to get on the board there.
He does not always play Ultimate, but when he does, he plays in the AUDL.
Well, it's a funny story. I asked him what he did to stay in shape. He said there was a tiny little exercise room as the Growlers respond quickly. Will Griffin, one of the co-owners of this franchise, picks up his first goal of the day. Friedman said the room he tried to work out in was 8 feet tall. You can't do a lot of jumping in a room that's 8 feet tall. He actually removed some of the ceiling panels from the room so he could jump up through the roof.
Wow.
To work on that vertical. Pretty smooth offense there, Chuck.
Yeah, it looked good. Taking what they're giving him and throwing out to space. You know, Will Griffin a little fired up there. I think he was getting a little contact, a little arm jockeying there in the lane, but he's a tough guy, gets open. And he's a real leader of this team. You know, San Diego, you know, he's involved obviously in the front office, but also as a player, he's just a guy. He's got a lot of confidence. He's got a lot of experience, and he's a guy that the younger players can kind of look to and key off of in these big games.
Been involved with Ultimate for a very long time. Griffin won a D3 national title, Los Positas.
He was at LPC too?
Briefly before he came to San Diego State.
Oh goodness, everybody went to LPC.
Yeah. Tremendous layup that time, just floats, but out of the reach of Zach Marsh. And give the credit there to Xavier Ching for giving up the body.
And a lackluster start for Jack Marsh. He's a big-time player out of New York, and I just feel like he hasn't quite hit his stride here with LA. When he does, I wouldn't expect that to happen.
Barely staying in bounds. Slater now deals with a double team. Scoobers through it and up the line into the end zone. That's a break for the Growlers. Leggio from Smith, and it's 9-5.
Wow, a nifty little shot over the top there to beat the double team. The longer you wait, the harder the double team gets, kind of like a cup in the zone. The more you keep it moving, the more options you have. And actually, the more optics you have, the more you can see the field. And this was a great job to just not let it set up. Here's the D underneath. I don't even know if he touched the disc. He just put so much pressure on the under that Jack Marsh was unable to make the catch. And here we see the double team. I believe it's right here. Here comes your double team. And immediately looks over the top. Just get it out of here right away. Don't let them set. And keep the ball moving. That's the smart play.
As you've spent more and more time watching the AUDL, what in your mind is the key to handling a double team with some poise?
Well, you got to keep it moving. You got to be able to just throw the over the top, or at least see the over the top. And sometimes you got to step through and get fouled. You know, just lunge right through the double team, force the contact. You know, kind of like a, wow, nice bid.
Heck of a bid there from Josh Nickerson. Came up short though. Growlers really playing with energy right now.
Yeah, Growlers D is looking fantastic in the first half.
Marsh dishes it for Wynn. And here's Eric Listner in the middle of the field. 8 assists through 2 weeks, looking for it all here. Wynn with a separation speed in the score. First assist of the day for Listner, another UCLA product who had 6 assists last week against the Growlers in the win.
Look at this series of fakes here by Listner, able to regain his balance and maintain vision downfield. I don't know how he saw this, but he knows his teammate Brian Wynn well enough to know that when he's got a step and he's running, just throw it as far as you can, pretty much.
Wynn, one of the fastest guys on the Aviators out of UC Irvine. Bringing the Aviators back within 3, and of course it's a long game. Last week, the Aviators led by as many as 9 at one point before the Growlers got within 1 at the very end.
That's disconcerting if you're LA. That should not happen. I feel like it's, in some ways, it belies a lack of maturity there.
Milardovich unleashes a huge flick. Cohen shy of the end zone, but makes the play. Quick throw. Keoy nearby.
Wow, 2 near fouls there. And I don't think either of them are going to be called. Keoy certainly into the back a little bit, and same on the throw. I thought that throw was going to come back because of the foul.
Oh my, a mistake there, and a Callahan as the Growlers capitalize. Perhaps the disc not lying. Cody Kirkland with a Callahan score for San Diego.
Yeah, so it shows what referees changed. Not a whole lot. The disc still decides what happens and who scores and who's right and who's wrong.
We'll take another look at it, but it looked like Keoy got done in the back on Cohen's first shot to the end zone there.
Yeah, I thought the throw to the end zone was the one where there was clearly a foul. I'm not so sure on the catch. But here you can see clearly into his leg. I guess he stepped and made the throw, so maybe it's all good. Here's Keoy with 2 hands on his back. I would call it. I don't know.
Yeah, that looks like a foul.
Yeah.
He tried to sell it at the end, but he started with both hands on the guy's back as he's getting ready to go up for the disc. Even if the foul happened well before he was set to elevate, there was contact there.
Right. He took away his balance.
It's a Kirkland Callahan. And Los Angeles not in sync at all. Smith let it fly. Battle in the end zone, and it's smacked away by Listener.
Listener gets his D back there, gets his turnover back. Pretty loose throw to the end zone. I'm not sure if the wind took that or if it was just kind of a poor throw.
Eli Friedman picks up the disc. It's got to be tough for him and for his teammates who have not played a lot with him before, and on the big stage, you have to kind of try to learn his tendencies.
That's right, and he's a guy, as the disc goes up deep here.
George with a nice throw. Corbett with an easy catch.
Friedman's really a guy who's dangerous with the disc and has some unique looks. He's got, as a cutter, you need to understand what your thrower can throw and where he's looking. And Eli Friedman is a really dangerous, kind of unique thrower. So it'll take time to really exploit that against the defense for those cutters to kind of catch up.
Well, Hunter Corbett is a guy who certainly could become a household name as his career progresses, a member of the Team USA U23 team that won gold last year in London. Excellent speed, tremendous sense out of UCSB, where he's been coached by Aviators teammate Tyler Bacon. And Chuck, to jog my memory, I was looking at the US U23 men's team roster from a year ago. 21 of the 23 guys in that team have played in the AUDL. So it's a pretty good statement for the league, the incredible widespread array of talent. All those guys on the national team, and you can say the same thing about guys who are on the WUGC men's and mixed national teams getting ready to go to London for a world championship this summer.
Shot goes up deep. That's set up beautifully. Cutter kind of released, rocked his defender underneath, releases deep, and the throw goes up right away. They're really in sync. Parisi set that up well. The thrower was ready to throw and threw it early. When you see the cut go, a lot of times guys will wait to see if he gets steps. If you throw right away, there's really not a lot the defender can do. You can see right there the cut goes up. He throws a throw that's blading in. He's got Silverman to worry about. When I'm telling you, when you time it and you throw with the right shape, there's nothing even Silverman's going to do.
Jesse Cohen showing off his versatility as both a thrower and a receiver, as Matt Parisi caught the score. Jesse Cohen, number 84, was the team's goal-scoring leader last year, and he was third in the team in assists. So, midway through the second quarter, San Diego trying to maintain its lead. Stumbling catch for Shackner in the middle of the field. Elbogen to Marsh. Up the line. Off the hands, he hangs on, and the goal scored by Elbogen.
Wow, nifty break there from Alan Lai. Went down, made the catch. You know, it's not the most graceful catch, but he goes down and just makes sure that he gets the catch. You know what I mean? It probably hurts a lot more than reaching down and just stabbing it. But that's what he did, and he gets it, makes the quick break for the goal. Nice play by him.
Elbogen with his second goal of the game, and a timeout called after the score. Not sure who called it. Both teams will get a chance to talk it over. 11-8 your score. We'll take a timeout midway through the second quarter here in Southern California.
Travelers have always come to Motel 6 for great service and the lowest price of any national chain. Now we're renovating nationwide with a fresh, modern look, so you'll see us in a whole new light. I'm Tom Bodette from Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Really nice crowd has turned out on a gorgeous Saturday night here at Balboa Stadium. Growlers ownership and board of directors has done a very nice job building up this team, as have the Aviators. These are really two of the more model franchises, just in their second year expansion in 2015. But in terms of attracting players, treating their players the right way, I mean, it's been funny to hear stories about how the recruiting process goes, because it's different than recruiting in college or recruiting in club. And the story of how Eli Friedman got connected with the Aviators ownership, very serendipitous. Yes, Friedman was at a pizza party in Portland, Oregon, and happened to intersect with a co-worker of James Park, who's one of the owners of the Aviators. They started talking. Friedman happened to be moving to LA, and all the pieces sort of came together for that guy to join this team. Not pleased with how the Aviators have started today, though. Here's Parisi on the under, marked by Silverman. Big shot thrown up there. And too much.
Andy
on
Salmons.
the toss from Salmons.
Yeah, Salmons put a little bit on there. I think the wind kind of didn't lift that disc the way he thought it might.
Bacon with a cheeky lefty backhand. Connecting with Shackner, and here's Keoy.
Yeah, Salmon's trying to get that back there with that big bid. But this is what LA needs. LA needs to get some turns, punch them in, hold on to this disc, and just not let San Diego recover here. They got a lot to look at, and right as we're speaking, a turf disc.
Turf throw from Padula.
5 minutes remaining.
Some jitters perhaps in his first AUDL game, and the Growlers give it right back. As Griffin's bid comes up just a little bit short. Bacon emerging from the front of the stack. Reset to Silverman, and into space, Padula makes amends. And that's a break for the Aviators there, Chuck.
That's good news for Frankie Rowe, coach of the LA Aviators here. He needs to get these guys on a roll, get them to just focus, hang on to the disc. I mean, they're really getting open. I mean, I think earlier in the in the first quarter they were having a hard time getting open, getting good looks downfield. Now it's just kind of mental errors. They're not finishing points. And playing on this big field, some of these guys haven't played AUDL Ultimate before. It's less downtime. There's no breaks in the action, no talking about fouls and that sort of thing. And it's a bigger field. And I think sometimes guys just sort of start to wear down, drag, and not finish points as well as maybe they're used to.
There's Franklin Rowe, who played Ultimate in high school and at William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. Came out to the West Coast to work in television as a writer and director. Ryan Slaughter will pick up an important point here offensively for the Growlers. If they don't hold, all of a sudden it's a one-goal game and a first throw giveaway off a out-of-bounds pull. Tyler Bacon was screaming for the disc. He was ignored, but it worked out all right. With the stall count rising, Theodore got rid of it just in time. Bacon needs a safety valve and connects with Corbett. San Diego's been doing a nice job contesting the unders downfield, you know, just sort of just outside the red zone.
Right, they're starting to do what they were doing in the first quarter, and there's a turnover.
Yep, stall count, you could feel it coming.
Yeah, they tightened the screws in the downfield D. Tyler and some of the other handling core on LA just starting to get frustrated, and just like that, 7 seconds tick off the clock and it's over. Tyler Bacon is one of my favorite players to watch throw. I mean, he almost never bends his knees. It's kind of funny. He's not a big guy. A lot of times big guys get away with throwing over the tops and lefties and shoulder high stuff and scoobers. He's not a particularly big guy, but he'll wrist a lot of his throws. He won't step all the way out, and he'll make quick releases, change hands, throw upside downs. He's very creative with the disc and very confident with the disc.
Tyler Bacon, you're talking about a champion in this league 2 years ago with the San Jose Spiders. When the Aviators came into existence last year, the Santa Barbara contingent sort of collectively made that decision. The commute was a little shorter. That allowed El Bogan, Keoy, Silverman, Bacon to assume larger leadership positions. But those were the unsung heroes of that first Spiders championship team in 2014.
They were. I mean, Bacon played fantastic. Elbogan with some spectacular plays. Really big contributors. You know, obviously a little outshined by guys like Ashland Joy and Bo Kittredge. But I still remember that game where I think it was Ashland threw a last-second game winner to Tyler Bacon for the game. It was just incredible.
We were there against Vancouver, 26-25.
That might have been, I mean, for me, that was probably my favorite AUDL game I've ever covered. So much fun. Vancouver, I'm such a big fan of Vancouver.
Riptide with a big game tonight against Seattle. Somehow it's always a big game when Seattle and Vancouver get together.
That's an age-old rivalry. I mean, there are some matchups that have just been, at least for my whole playing career, have just been marquee games, and that's one of them.
San Diego called the timeout, brought the offense back onto the field. And too much on the throw to the open side. Cohen could not get there. It's a rare mistake from Leggio. Last possession, Los Angeles was stalled out. Seeing a little stagnation downfield, but good handler movement to reset the disc. Grant Boyd into the middle for Corbett. Nice use of the pivot there. And the Aviators go the full 80 yards to get back within one.
Pretty work to the break side there by LA. A nice break, setting up Theodore for a beautiful touch. Lefty around flick there, just dropped it right in around the defender. Pretty offense.
Corbett picks up the assist. George with the score. Just over 2 minutes to go in the half, and LA, having trailed by as many as 4, has scored 3 straight to get back within 1. Bellinger will launch the ensuing pull.
Approximately 2 minutes and 16 seconds.
You knew that no matter how this game started, we'd go down to the wire in a 1 or 2 score game, right? You knew that coming into the night.
I mean, I would hope so, right? But one thing you can count on is neither of these teams is comfortable with the loss in this game. Neither of these teams. And you're starting to see that. Big shot goes up deep here.
Does it have enough float? No.
Ooh, Milardovich right there wasn't quite able to collect himself. He had to turn left shoulder to right shoulder, and he wasn't quite able to put a bid on it, but I think if he could have, he would have been in the end zone.
Aviators looking for the tie. Silverman with a nice holster and a big 30-yard swing. Bellinger connects with Shackner, the captain of this Los Angeles D-line. And then Silverman finds Simon Evans. Nice distribution of the disc. Looking long to the end zone, defended by Milardovich.
He was able to pull the trigger on that one. Milardovich getting back to what he really made his name doing last year, and that is getting crazy layout blocks.
He led the team with 24 Ds a year ago. He had 5 the first 2 weeks of this season.
One minute remaining in the half.
Here we go again. Ivers in the end zone for the Growlers. That disc floated perfectly.
It did. That was a perfect throw. Right on the money. Great distance, great speed, nice height, and the right shape there. He just flattened it out, put it out in front of the receiver, let him run onto it. He's got position, so you don't need to do anything crazy. Watch Milardovich start this whole thing off by getting a big block, one of many that he's had in his career.
Los Angeles was just one more throw away from tying it up.
And that is a big time huck.
So Ivers converts the goal. 37 seconds left in the second quarter. Franklin Rowe, the head coach of the Aviators, was certainly frustrated at the end of the first as Los Angeles hucked it when they thought there were just a second or two remaining. Turned out there was too much time left. San Diego had a chance to counter. Bellinger lets it fly. And it's ripped away by Nickerson for San Diego. And that bullet was to nobody. And that will do it for the first 24 minutes tonight. Pretty good pace, 22 scores in 24 minutes. Big first half for Nathan Bridges and Tom Leggio. Steve Milardovich has certainly made his fair share of plays too, and Eli Friedman looking to get in sync with his new teammates as the Aviators trail by 2 at the break. Certainly either team in position to take this thing in the second half tonight. Such an important game for the Growlers because at 0-2, they definitely don't want to fall to 0-3 for the second season in a row. Meanwhile, the Aviators are trying to build up some level of superiority over their Southern California rival. And Chuck and I were chatting before the game. Chuck, about to have a chat with Stephen Milardovich down on the field. We'll get you down there in just a second. But our conversation before the game was based around the fact that really the recipe for one of these teams to surge into the playoffs this year is to take care of business in this rivalry. if the teams go 3-2, 2-3 against each other, it's going to be hard to compete with the Seattles and San Franciscos atop the division. If one team can take 4 out of 5, it could be a very different story in terms of rising into the postseason conversation. All right, Steven Milardovich had a big first half, and he is down on the field with our own Chuck Kindred.
I am here with Steven Milardovich, my MVP at least for the first half of this SoCal rivalry. Steven, you know, it's a different San Diego Growlers team this year than last year. You had a lot of star power last year from kind of out of the region. What's it like this year with this new iteration with kind of a San Diego crew?
Well, I think we've really embraced that sort of challenge, losing some top players like that. We all, acknowledged that it was going to be tough, but we embraced it early in the season and realized that we needed to get clicking, get our offenses and defenses installed earlier, because obviously last year we got off to a slow start. So we knew our margin for error this year without those top guys was a lot slimmer. So that's been the difference.
And how is it for you as a player? I mean, you're a guy, we just saw you get a huge layout D, which we saw a lot of last year, and that's kind of how personally I knew you. You're a guy who gets big blocks in big games, but now you're really getting to do all facets. You're big on offense, you're big on D. How is it for you this year as opposed to last year?
I mean, I'm really just, taking the opportunities that are there on the field. I'm playing more O points this year, but that's just what the team needs. So, I don't know, I guess that's just doing whatever the team needs me to do.
What's it like playing against LA? I mean, I know this is the SoCal rivalry. You guys have seen each other a lot in college and club and now in the pro league. What's it like to come and play LA?
I have to say it's fun. It's really fun. Play these guys so many times that we know all the matchups. Like before the game, I know who I'm going to be guarding. And, I got a lot of respect for these guys. They play really tough physical D, so it's always fun when we match up with LA, definitely.
And how do you feel about Kobe Bryant retiring?
I'm a Sacramento Kings fan, so no comment.
That's fair. I mean, I think, what was it, the 2002 playoffs may or may not have been rigged?
Yeah, it was rigged. David Stern took it away from us.
Hard-hitting facts here on the sideline. Thanks a lot, Steven. Good luck in the second half.
Thanks.
Back to you, Evan.
Chuck, thank you. A really hard-hitting interview down there. I'm not sure it's a tougher time for Sacramento fans or Laker fans. There's certainly a debate to be had there. At the half, the Growlers lead the Aviators 12-10. Another close game between these two teams. We'll take a quick timeout, come back with our halftime coverage of the AUDL on ESPN3.
So you folks can
Early recognition is critical. Teaches middle school PE classes about ultimate Frisbee and cancer symptom awareness.
We're a registered nonprofit that advocates for an active, healthy lifestyle, body awareness, and speaking up if something is wrong.
Skills that, when it comes to cancer, can help save a life. Ultimate is a fast-paced team sport that's self-refereed, non-contact, and co-ed.
Spirit of the game is the foundation of Ultimate. That means we communicate respectfully, we're fair-minded, and we enjoy the game.
Ultimate is accessible to everyone. All you need is a Frisbee and some friends. Our team of coaches is made up of experienced and passionate leaders from the Ultimate community.
We teach kids that playing fair is more important than winning.
We can come to your middle school and run your PE classes for the day. And if we're not in your area yet, we'll send you our clinic in a box, where we give you the resources to run your own.
Ultimate Frisbee is one of the fastest growing sports in the world.
Teachers and parents love Ultimate Frisbee.
We are Eric!
And we want to work with you and your school.
Very busy day in the AUDL. The Growlers leading the Aviators 12-10 at the half here in San Diego. But to get the Los Angeles perspective of the first half, Chuck Kindred is down in the field with the LA defensive captain, Zach Schackner.
All right, I'm here with Shaq Daddy, captain of the defensive line here on the LA Aviators. And Shaq, tough first half. They came out and really, I thought, outplayed you guys on defense. I thought they were putting a lot of pressure downfield. You're a D guy. What were you seeing out of San Diego on D? What were they doing right?
I mean, honestly, they really came at us with a deep game, and that's something different than the last week. So we were kind of going with the flow what we were doing last week. They adjusted pretty well, and they kind of caught us on our heels. They really were hitting some good shots deep.
So what, this is kind of a new year for you guys as well. San Diego had a big turnover, really new look. But you guys picked up some big talent. You're integrating some new pieces. What's it like, the 2016 iteration of the LA Aviators?
I mean, look, our go-to is the defense. We're tough, we're physical, we generate turns. This year, we're really hoping to convert more on those. So we're working on our offense a little bit. We're trying to go with the flow. We're trying to open up some of those deep shots.
How do you draw the line between playing physical and playing dirty? I mean, I don't know if there is a line, and I know when I was playing, I like to bump a little bit in the lane. What do you think about where the line is between being physical, being in the guy's face, and making dirty plays on D?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a fine line, right? I'm all about physicality. I don't like grabbing. I think if you can use your body to get in a position, that's fair game. I don't like pulling, and honestly, these layouts, there is a sort of a gray area where you can lay out. The defender, if he thinks he's got a shot at it, it's going to go, so it's hard to find that fine line. I think we do it. I think we play tough, physical D. I don't think we're dirty, but, that physical nature to our defense tries to frustrate people, so that's kind of, what we're going with.
Do you prefer having refs? I mean, on that same, on that same line of reasoning, sometimes it's like, it's easier if somebody else just makes the call for me, so I don't have to figure,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the refs make the call, and we've got the integrity rule too. If we do something egregious, we'll take it back, absolutely. So I think it's a good sort of middle ground, having the refs as well as that integrity rule.
Right, it's a good point. So how do you feel playing against San Diego? I mean, I know this is a big rivalry. You guys have played against each other, a lot of you in college and club and in the pro leagues. How do you get up for a game against San Diego?
I mean, I love it. This is such a good turnout. We got a lot of LA fans here. We got a lot of San Diego people. It's just, we get up, we get hyped. We know these guys real well. So it's all about being creative. We got to generate sort of new looks, different things, because otherwise, it's just going to be the same sort of thing. We got to keep them on their heels.
I asked Milardovich this last question as well. How do you feel about Kobe Bryant retiring? Be honest.
Greatest. It's great. I mean, it's amazing. The way he went out, unbelievable. I'm not a basketball guy, but I looked at my Twitter, I saw it, so I watched the final, final half. It was awesome.
It was a pretty incredible game, even for a guy like Kobe who's had quite a few.
Amazing, for sure.
How do you think he would be as an ultimate player?
We're in talks with him right now. So, he's looking to stay in shape. I don't know if he could cut it with this much running, but we'll see. Those knees, I don't know.
Can you afford like $10 million a year, maybe?
Maybe 8.
$8 million? All right.
We got a good ownership here.
Well, LA makes it rain. We've all known that. Thanks a lot for your time, Shaq. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much. Good talking to you.
Back to you, Evan.
Chuck, thanks so much. Interesting perspective, and that would be a marquee signing, but I'm not sure there's enough disc to go around if they sign Kobe, because he would just want to shoot it every single time. Not exactly the epitome of a teammate. You might be able to tell that I grew up in Boston. But enough of that. We're at a half here in San Diego. The Growlers lead 12-10. We'll take a quick timeout, and then when we come back, we'll show you the top plays from week 2 in the AUDL. Some really spectacular layouts and skies throughout the league. All that's coming up here at halftime. The Growlers by 2 at the break.
Imagine you're in a new town for a couple of days and you find yourself wanting a bike. Use Spin Lister to rent any kind of bike in your area in over 55 countries. Have an unforgettable adventure while saving up to 40% on rentals. And whatever you do, don't forget to enjoy your ride.
Burton. That is an insane catch.
Lennon finds Burton, who pays it off for the score. Mark Burton is just a gamer, a guy you want to have on your team, and a highlight reel machine.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see this guy's got plenty of heart. You know, the game's on the line. He doesn't want to lose. He's making big plays. Look at this with all the pressure. The disc is turning over. Tough read. It's trailing edge, and he's reaching back over his right shoulder while falling, and he makes the stack catch.
Not the last time you'll see Marcelo Sanchez in the AUDL top 10. Welcome back, everybody. About to start the second half. The Growlers leading the Aviators 12-10 with Chuck Kindred and his U.S. Army tie. Very patriotic. I am Evan Lepler, and some interesting conversations you had down on the field about perspectives of physicality. What are your thoughts heading into the second half here?
I'm excited to see how LA bounces back. They started to come alive in the second quarter. I think we're going to see even more. They're a talented team. They're a lot, they got a lot of pride, and this is SoCal. This is the battle of SoCal. Who's the best looking? Who's got the coolest car? Do you like Kobe or not? And who's going to win tonight? That's what we all want to know.
You couldn't hear me, but when you tossed it back, I discussed how it's a pretty painful time for both Laker fans and Sacramento Kings fans.
It is. It's not the glory days for either organization, but what are you going to do? They'll bounce back.
The Bay Area seems to dominate in both ultimate and basketball now as we get to turn around and get ready for the second half.
Yeah, I'm excited. These two teams, I think they play well under the lights. They're ramping up. Both teams are fired up. I think the D is going to step up in this second half. I'm fired up. And, I talked to a couple of the LA guys. They were not happy about the end of the first quarter. They didn't think the goal should have counted, and they're a little salty. I think they're going to take it out on them here in the second half.
This is Stadium Ultimate under the lights here at Balboa Stadium, and what was that?
Yeah, another miscue. We saw one just like that at the end of the first half. Thrower maybe cut off a cut and throw goes up, nobody's there.
One turnover deserves another.
And just like that, 2 quick turnovers, and it's not looking too good.
Not the greatest showcase of professional ultimate in the first 30 seconds of this half.
You could say that.
So the Growlers on their offensive point looking long. Dunn wants Griffin. Does he have the legs? Oh, so close.
Wow, that's the second time we've seen a shot overthrown to Will Griffin to that end zone. I think the wind is carrying a little bit, and it's just hard to tuck it in there. A lot of times if you get a little wind coming at you, that just turns over and it drops in. You could see it just stayed IO, and look at the pressure here over the top from Shaq to get it off the trap. And now LA's got a lot of daylight to look at.
Bellinger from his teammate up line looking long. And it's hauled in nicely by Severson, who adjusted well. And the Aviators' goal counts to make it a 1-score game.
Number 80, Brandon Severson gets the goal.
Yeah, nice work there by LA, taking it 80 yards.
First goal of the
Starting out looking very tenuous here. Let's see. Well, this is towards the end here. So Dan Bellinger winds and delivers a deep shot for the goal. And Bellinger's a guy really confident, really good with the disc, big hucks off both sides. And he's just well known in the ultimate community as being able to put the ball in. He gets those end zone eyes too. He's a guy, literally, if you see him with the disc, you know what he's thinking if you just see his eyes light up.
So we've got another 1-goal game here. Quick updates from around the league. The Chicago Wildfire just pulled down a buzzer-beating Hail Mary to tie it at the very end of overtime. They're heading to double OT in the Twin Cities. Minnesota and Chicago, 21-21. The only time you get to Universe Point in Ultimate is in double OT. Second double OT game of the weekend in the AUDL as Cincinnati fell in Detroit in double overtime last night.
Life is harder in the Midwest, and that goes for Ultimate too.
See if San Diego can bounce back here. Also in the West Division, Vancouver holding a 16-11 halftime lead over Seattle at the half. This one thrown up for Ivers, and it's swatted away. Ivers did everything he could to make a play on the disc. But I think Tyler Bacon will get credit for the D, and he might be shaken up as a result.
Yeah, it looks like his left ankle, left knee maybe got banged up. But once again, he's going deep and making a big play in the air on defense. He was the one who got the initial block at the end of the first quarter that turned into a deflection goal. He is a guy that just will not accept defeat in the air. I mean, he goes up as big and as hard as any guy in the league. Hard to see there what happened.
Great hustle by Ivers.
Yeah, he was close, wasn't he?
So Bacon on the sideline. Interesting comments from Zach Shackner about wanting to increase the D-line's conversion ratio. Oh, an incredible hustle play to save the day. Travis Dunn knocked away what looked like a sure Los Angeles goal.
Wow, what a great effort from Travis Dunn. That looked like it was all but over. And he never quit on the disc. That's what the coaches teach you. That's what the captains tell you. And Travis Dunn just did it.
Milardovich picks up for the Growlers, and there's Dunn. Just barely got that throw off. 40 yards, cross field, Milardovich. He'll let it fling away. Cohen can't come up with it, as again it was the defense deep of Los Angeles. Hunter Corbett knocked it away.
Yeah, Cohen waited a little too long to close on that disc, was kind of sizing it up. And it may have just dropped faster than he thought it would there. It came down awfully quick. The defender went straight to it. Looked like a halfway decent shot to the end zone there.
Wow, Silverman not guarded. Does he have the legs to get there? Of course he does. Takes his time, quick dump off. Pretty good transition defense here from San Diego as players collide in the end zone. Silverman and Parisi getting tangled up there.
Man, did Jeff Silverman have a whole nother gear there or what? There was not even a question.
We've seen that gear before.
Yeah, he is exciting. One of my favorite players to watch.
Risky Scuba works out. Boyd with a goal from Keoy. And the Aviators have tied it up for the first time today.
And the Aviators really, you can just see it in their body language. This does not look like the same team we were watching in the first half. They looked a little lackadaisical, a little resigned. And now every disc that's in the air like this one right here, closed out on by an LA Aviator. Every opportunity like this deep shot that Jeff Silverman capitalized on.
Yeah, it was really a defensive breakdown from San Diego because Silverman was all alone and Bellinger just put it to space as well as he could. Pretty toss.
Yeah, I wasn't so sure when it went up, but it sure worked. I think, you know, there's a few guys on this LA team that absolutely are not used to losing to San Diego, and you see them kind of perk up in these games. You know, guys like Elbogan, guys like Bellinger, you know, Mr. Santa Barbara here, Dan Bellinger, he does not want a loss to San Diego on his record.
Underneath, almost another layout D. It was Severson that time who went horizontal. San Diego maintains possession. Ryan Zid, quick flip to Bridges. Kirkland, nice job swinging the disc. Zid continues to Ivers. Growlers back in front.
That's big. That's big for the Growlers. Nice work there by Brian Zid to kind of keep that offense moving. And I'm not so sure they could afford a turnover there. They did the right thing there. They hit the open guy, hit the break, you know, the break side goal. And that's big if you're San Diego. If when the pressure was on, LA was coming on strong. And Ivers here with that shot up the middle to Max Hume, I believe it was. They really need that.
Will Griffin told us before the game that Max Hume is the fastest guy in the team, and he really has a chance to blow up this season. They're still trying to figure out what position he's going to play consistently, but a truly remarkable talent. And there's Zeke Ivers.
Yeah, you can see Max Hume, what his potential is. He's still so young, and it's interesting to see these really young athletes. I mean, they're really still coming online. You see him do something, and you say, oh my gosh, I guess he can do that. You know, that's one of the joys of being a coach who gets to coach young, talented guys at San Diego State, at UCSD, at some of these really good Frisbee schools in SoCal.
I've been off Iris. I've been open. You're exactly where.
Certainly a junky defensive look here. Kind of a 2-3-2 from the Growlers.
Yeah, and LA's got to be careful. They're holding the disc pretty long here, and they might accidentally turn it.
Outside in flick to space where Jack Marsh awaits. Listener back to Marsh. San Diego trying to match up. Brooks in pursuit, but he couldn't get there.
Ooh, I don't know. I would have loved to have seen a bid. Not sure he would have got it, but I mean, geez, you came to the party, right?
If that was one of the college kids that you were coaching, what would you say to him after that non-bid?
I'd say, great work out there. Now, grab some wood, bub. You're done.
He'd be on the bench for a while, is what you're saying.
Right. First of all, we'd have to get a bench, but yes.
The metaphor stands.
Yeah. Yeah, why not, right? What do you got to lose? What's the worst that could happen? An incredible play.
So here's Dunn cross midfield. Dishes for Mark Slater. Look into the end zone, off the hands of Nickerson, who had it, lost it, had it, and lost it again.
And I think we're seeing an integrity rule. I'm not sure here. Listener pointing to himself like maybe I got him on the second attempt. That's a pretty generous call, because I think literally the foul was on the second attempt, not the first. He's saying, you know what, I ran into him. He probably could have made a better bid on the deflection, but he got first touch. I mean, if I'm the defender, I'd say, look, you had your chance to catch it.
Where's the disc at?
Of course, the rule says otherwise.
And San Diego pay it off. Nickerson resets. Smith able to connect. And I believe
he's complaining about being too green right now.
The first throw into the hands of Dunn was good for the score.
I think you're right.
He got rid of it quickly, but it'll go to Dunn.
1, 2, and 3 are a match.
So credit Smith with the assist. And after Los Angeles scored the first two here in the third quarter, Chuck, the Growlers have responded with back-to-back scores.
They have. They really need to as well. You can see here the first attempt.
6,500. Is that what you have it on?
Wow, that's a generous call by Listener. I mean, I see that there was contact there, but how clean can you be? Let's just put it this way. I don't have that kind of integrity. I certainly would have made that call, but he felt like he affected the play and he made the call.
I've given up trying to call fouls on you when you get physical here in the booth because I know that you have no integrity.
That's right. For all those kids out there, do as I say, not as I do.
You were a very spirited player back in your heyday.
I was. Probably one of my best features.
Wow.
Wow.
Costly mistake there from the Los Angeles handlers. Eli Friedman still trying to gain chemistry with his new teammates. San Diego given a gift.
4 minutes remain.
But they cannot unwrap it.
Man, just a couple head-scratching throws in a row. I don't know what that was. Just a throw to the center of the stack, you know.
I think this is becoming a battle of two teams that aren't having their best nights. But you sense that from both sidelines, and there's still a win to be had, and it's still anybody's game.
That's right. It comes down to heart. It comes down to who wants it more, who can just dial it in. And, you know, you're not always going to have your best stuff, but you always have to put forward your best effort. And that's probably who's going to win here. Whoever can just keep doing their best, stay together, and keep working.
Corbett finds good undercut. It was Wynn. Corbett to Marsh.
3 minutes.
Under 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Growlers are 0-2, losing twice by a grand total of 3 goals the last 2 weeks. San Diego, another opportunity to take advantage of Los Angeles's mistake.
That was great pressure on the reset. Nothing to do downfield and really no easy reset either.
2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Ivers let it rip. Milardovich is in the end zone. Nice shot.
Zeke Ivers picks up his second assist, going deep to Steven Milardovich, who picks up his first goal.
I've liked what I've seen from Zeke Ivers in this game.
Yeah, he seems to always be making the right decisions. And that's not necessarily the highest percentage shot you could take, but he sees the matchup he likes. Milardovich has position, he trusts his receiver, and he made a pretty precise throw. I mean, that's the spot you want to hit.
You can see the contrasting emotions there. Hunter Corbett in the near ground.
You can, yeah. Man, that interview, the halftime interview with Milardovich, what a chill guy. I mean, you can just see his demeanor. He just got a huge layout D. You know, they're up against their rivals, LA, and he just looks as calm and as composed as can be. You can see, like, you know, on offense, when you see one of your best players, one of your leaders, and he's not worried, that helps you to just relax and keep making plays. Don't blow your assignment. stay dialed in. He's a neat guy to watch. Very, very chill.
So the Aviators have been broken on back-to-back points. And San Diego with a chance to make it 3 breaks and 4 scores in a row.
These are some ugly turnovers from LA. Not sure what to say. They really just need to pull it together.
The disc was tipped. Nick Alexander got a piece of it. If Los Angeles gets back into this game, you might look at that D as the thing that turned it around. Bellinger in pursuit. He's going to get there. Just shy of the goal line, sets the pivot foot and finds Keoy. And what was so close to being a 4-goal difference, all of a sudden right back to 2. How about that D from Alexander, first of all?
That was huge. You know, when you're guarding on the front of the end zone, the throw is short. You don't have a lot of time to react, and for him to just get a piece and force the turnover and open up this giant huck. You know, you saw a couple of guys, as soon as Shaq got the disc, a couple of guys just took off. And Bellinger collects it, makes the throw across field to Keoy, and that's big for LA. They really, you know, I think you were right on the money. That's a big momentum saver.
Well, Los Angeles will receive to start the 4th quarter. So the Aviators now back within 2. Not the finest pull right there, out of bounds near midfield. With some of the mistakes the Aviators have made, it seems impossible that they're within 2, but they are.
Right. Yeah, just a lot of mental errors from LA right now.
Good to see Tyler Bacon back in the game, pressuring Kirkland, who gives a little deke with a lefty backhand. Switch the fields, and Cohen runs it down. Well done.
Those were tough throws and catches from San Diego, but they hit the brakes, reversed the field all the way to the other sideline, and Cohen makes a nice adjustment. I mean, that easily could have sailed past him. But he made the quick read and ran it out.
It was the Kirkland lefty backhand that got that little sequence started.
Yeah, that was a scary looking throw when it went up. Let's see if we can get a look here. A lot of pace on that flick.
So Jesse Cohen with another score for the Growlers. San Diego by 3. Just over a minute to play in the quarter. Over the course of the season, coaches will spend so much time harping on these end of quarter situations. Los Angeles, if it plays its cards right, could basically go for a double score. They preserve the clock, score with just a little bit of time left, but they're having a tough time stringing several passes together. San Diego, oh, a tremendous bid, but incomplete. Chris Liu paying out.
He makes some big bids, doesn't he? And here's the double team.
A lot of traffic near the goal line, but the Aviators get it to space. And a big shot lofted up. Jack Marsh getting it ahead for George. And with less than 30 seconds to go in the quarter, the Aviators, and I don't think it's going to be a score. They called a travel before the throw. It's a receiver travel.
So they retain possession but lose yardage on the catch, I think.
Hard to know how much time exactly is left. But it takes away the easy transition opportunity. Creates a bunch of traffic in the end zone, and Bogan throws it away. Big call right there.
10 seconds.
Growlers have one last chance to let it go. Milardovich gets it off, but he doesn't have a receiver. Two defenders nearby, Elbogen and Listener, team up to spike it, and it will be a 3-goal game heading into the 4th.
So remember, kids, bring your mini disc up. Stay behind the brown railing. Kids, of course.
LA scored the first 2 goals of that 3rd quarter. San Diego closed on a 4-1 run to win the quarter 4-3. 3 down, 1 to go. San Diego 16, Los Angeles 13. 12 minutes on the clock when we come back.
Imagine you're in a new town for a couple of days and you find yourself wanting a bike. Use Spin Lister to rent any kind of bike in your area in over 55 countries. Have an unforgettable adventure while saving up to 40% on rentals. And whatever you do, don't forget to enjoy your ride.
Really nice crowd on hand here at Balboa Stadium, where the hometown Growlers lead by 3 at the end of 3. And as we turn the page to the 4th, certainly the Aviators have an opportunity to receive here and try to make it a 2-goal game. If San Diego gets a break to stretch it to 4, still plenty of time left, but that's a tough deficit to overcome down the stretch.
It is, and this isn't a particularly high-scoring game. You know, I mean, 3 goals is no small feat. I think LA's up to the task, but man, they have had some serious mental errors, very poor resets. I mean, even when they've had open dumps, just throwing, you know, that scuba by Friedman where you're just wondering why in the world he chose that, and a couple turf discs, and just, I mean, these are clearly mental errors. These are not, this is not defensive pressure. This has nothing to do with the offensive sets. This is just guys that are making bad decisions. There's a lack of focus that's moving through the O-line. And if they want to win here, I mean, they've got to be precise on offense.
Final score from the Midwest, Chuck. The Minnesota Wind Chill 22, the Chicago Wildfire 21 in double overtime. Wind Chill improved to 2-1. The Wildfire in heartbreaking fashion fall to 0-2.
Wow, tough start for Chicago.
Meanwhile, San Jose and San Francisco was tied 8-8 at the end of the 1st quarter against the FlameThrowers. That game at Foothill College, the home of the San Jose Spiders. Both teams had 1 break in the opening quarter in the Bay Area. The Battle of the Bay. Bunch of great action in the AUDL tonight. Montreal got its first win of the season, knocking off Philadelphia in the first game of the year for both those teams. Montreal is at New York tomorrow. Rematch of the first round East Division playoff game last year, where New York went to Montreal and played really well to get the win and end the Royale season. But here we go, Los Angeles. And clear contact on the mark there. Ivers fouling Marsh. You wonder if a guy like Marsh can try to put the team on his back a little bit here in crunch time.
He's that caliber of player. We haven't seen it at all tonight.
Well, he cuts from the front of the stack and puts the throw right on the money. So the assist for Marsh and the score to make it a 2-goal game.
Good start for LA. They needed that. They were patient with the disc. They hit their resets. And really, I mean, you know, the work, they're doing the hard work. They're getting open. They're getting the right looks. Now they're starting to hit them. And honestly, I think that's all they need to do to get back and take this, you know, even it up, maybe go to overtime here. This could be right down to the wire. Elbogen looking a little exasperated, visibly so. He was upset about the end of the first half, thought the time should have been expired. And it's just been one of those nights where you just, you know, the team's not doing what you're hoping they were going to do. He's not having his biggest game. He's, you know, if you're in Mark Elbogen, you just know that the whole team is capable of better, and that can be frustrating.
Oh, a lazy throw ends up knocked away by Michael Keoy. And we've got ourselves a 1-goal game in the fourth. Just like that, the Aviators snatch momentum. Wow.
Yeah, here come your LA Aviators. This is a tough crew, and when they're on, they're as good as any team in this league. You're starting to see that. They can pressure every position. They can play great defense on the disc and downfield. They've got all the tools to score, and they're starting to get excited. That's really what you need if you're LA. You just need these guys to get fired up, take some pride, win this battle for SoCal. And a first pass D from Michael Keoy, huge.
That's got to make him feel good. Back from the torn ACL, which has sidelined him for more than a year. Big defensive play, and he'll stay out there. Severson paid it off with a goal. Aviators score 13 goals in the first 36 minutes of the game, score 2 in the opening minute of the final quarter. Well, the Growlers respond. Milardovich with a good cut. Keoy right on him. Keoy laying out on the mark. And away from the disc, an Aviator in some pain. I believe that's Shackner.
Yeah, you're right. He's holding that right knee.
Seemed like you and Shackner have a past.
You'd think, right?
The way you guys were schmoozing at the break.
I don't know, man. Sometimes you just got chemistry. Shaq's obviously a very smart, very well-spoken guy. Hopefully he's all right here. Looks like they're taking a look at his knee. But yeah, I really enjoyed talking to him. I've always been a guy who appreciates good D and appreciates guys who are defensive-minded. He's certainly that.
Working on his PhD in marine biology at UCLA. He's a Wisconsin kid, a Midwest boy. Well, he grew up in Los Angeles, but he went to Wisconsin Whitewater for 5 years. All right, hopefully he's all right. On the restart, Ivers gets free. Going back to the start of last year, and then again the start of this year. The Growlers have had so many heartbreak setbacks. Nice put, juggled and dropped in the end zone.
Yeah, they're starting to do what they had done all night for success, which was exploit the break side, but Milardovich, of all people, bobbles it.
And the Aviators with a chance to tie.
10 minutes.
All of a sudden, this Aviator D-line looking very smooth. Silverman connecting with Bellinger, who launches 2 Aviators there, and they might have got in each other's way.
I guess so. Maybe it was one of those situations where one guy thought the other guy was going to catch it. Another injury on the field now.
Theodore and Keoy were both there. It's Bridges who's shaken up.
Shaken up from it, but it's still amazing play.
Holy cow.
That is a costly error for LA. I mean, Bellinger puts
Gorgeous throw to 2 different guys.
Yeah, perfect throw on a rope, right out in front. I'm not sure what happened. It looked like maybe Theodore took his eye off it for a second. But if you're LA, you need that goal. That was the goal to tie it.
Well, you know, Chuck, sometimes drops are contagious. We saw it in one end zone with Milardovich, in the other end zone with a couple Aviators that were there. Theodore and Keoy, neither could make the play. Griffin restarts. Over to Bridges. I make it Parisi. And here's Milardovich. Zid. Resets for Griffin.
Zid making some big-time cuts downfield. He's really bringing energy. You see him going downfield, getting the disc back again. And I've actually played a season with Zid. He's a guy who can really churn downfield and make a difference.
One of the original members of the AUDL. Zid played for the Rhode Island Rampage back in 2012. And the Growlers finally pay it off Mistakes from both teams on the point, but the Growlers convert to go back up by 2.
And you started to see on that point what makes Brian Zid great. He just turns it on. He just says, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to stop running until we're in the end zone. He made 4 or 5 hard cuts, got the disc twice, came all the way to the break side on a full sprint. His defender just kind of released him, said, geez, who is this guy? And then a hammer over the top for the goal. Here's the drop. So certainly Theodore should have just closed out on that. He's one of those guys, he's a little tentative sometimes. Such a nice guy that he won't just take it. But here's Zid finishing on the other end.
Another assist for Ivers.
And you really need that, right? In big games, it's a close game. Everybody's a little nervous. You need decisive leadership. You need guys just saying, I'm doing my part. And Zid did that for them. I think that's a big deal. They need guys like him, and they need Milardovich to step up.
Just moved to San Diego last fall, Zid did. Become a professor of biochemistry at UC San Diego. Hammer hauled in. Marsh able to create some yardage in transition here. Corbett looking for a throw and go, draws 2 defenders with him and opens up the easy swing back to the far side of the field. Lie off the hands of Listener. He goes back up, and San Diego rips it away. Travis Dunn been making plays like that all night long. Timeout called from the San Diego sideline.
Good timeout there from Coach Stewart. They got the disc. Everybody could probably use a blow here, a little tired, but watch this closeout D. And Dunn's been making big plays all night. Great throws, great Ds. He's fired up, he sees a disc, and he's hungry. Watch him just go up and make this play over Listener. And the crowd here in San Diego loves it.
It's a matter of inches. Dunn just was a fingernail ahead of Listener in pursuit of that disc.
4 seconds remaining in the game.
So the Growlers will bring the offense back onto the field, presumably. San Diego took the timeout, leading by 2. Growlers led by 3 at the end of 1, by 2 at the half, stretched it back to a 3-goal lead. Heading into the 4th, the largest difference of the game was 4, back at 9-5 and 11-7 in the first half. So it'll be Cody Kirkland.
This is a big point for both of these teams. Momentum is certainly hanging in the balance here. Vertical stack downfield for San Diego. Double team right off the bat, trying to force the disc out of Kirkland's hands.
Resets for Griffin. Hard underneath cut made there. It was Bridges, beg your pardon, Parisi, and now Milardovich.
Parisi's really fun to watch, lots of energy. Big hard cuts, big hucks. And Will Griffin, one of the leaders with the disc.
Back to Kirkland. He was a little too eager there to break the mark, I think.
Yeah, costly error.
Silverman was breaking deep. He had a step on his defender, but he turned back in. Now Shackner launches. Gorgeous throw in the end zone. Andrew Padula making his AUDL debut. He's had his ups and downs. So have the Aviators as a team. And with just over 7 minutes to play, it's back to a 1-score game.
Yeah, LA will not go away. They keep clawing, they keep fighting. They're back within 1. You know, they're closing this gap. As much as it feels like it's an even second or even fourth quarter here, it really isn't. And a nice deep shot there from Shaq.
Growlers merchandise booth, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be counting out some bills with your name on them.
So Shackner picks up the assist. Andrew Padula out of UCLA. Here we go. San Diego needs to hold, otherwise we'll be tied. Ross Lenta's had a pretty quiet night, makes the play underneath, almost threw it away, but Griffin makes the catch and draws the foul on Severson.
Yeah, pretty physical collision there. Two guys with big shoulders slamming into each other. Nice job by Griffin to focus and make the catch anyway.
Griffin horizontal, maintains possession. Zid launches. It's Max Hume on the brink of the end zone. And the Growlers convert. Lenta picks up the assist.
Yeah, great first cut from Lenta to get that whole thing started. He came out with a lot of energy, flashed in the lane, got the disc, and got it all started for him. Will Griffin with a huge layout to keep it alive, and then Zid doing what he's been doing. See the big bid there from Will Griffin. He's got a smile on his face as he comes up, saying, hey, Zid, maybe throw it, maybe hit me in the chest next time.
I'm in my 30s now, he said. Make it a little easier.
Right. But this is a big goal for San Diego. I mean, they've looked at times, they've looked a little nervous and unsure of themselves, and they keep punching these in. They're holding on to this league. You know, Ivers is kind of coming into his own, playing a good game, taking on a bigger role this season, and
he's been very impressive. He made his debut last week against Los Angeles, and you know, the Growlers said he was a little rough in the first half, made a couple mistakes, but by the second half, he kind of figured out his role. I mean, it's an adjustment playing an AUDL game if you never played one before. And in his second game, he's flourished. He really is.
He sees the field well. And so here, you know, some good junky D from San Diego, making it hard for LA to get it moving. They get it through. But here we are again, and this junky D is very effective. That's probably 10 throws, and they're still right where they started.
There's 2-3-2 zone defensive look from the Growlers. Finally, the Aviators able to slither it through that middle line. Marsh able to holster it. Allen Lai. Brooks to the open man, Listener. And too much on the throw, not enough float. Too much angle on the disc.
Yeah, tough shot there from Listener. Not sure what happened. He just had the wrong shape on it.
Dangerous throw there. Kirkland kept it alive for San Diego. I beg your pardon, that was Los Angeles able to knock it away.
Yeah, great help D off the backside there. Dunn makes a big play, sees a man open, throws out to space. And speaking of throwing out to space, Huck goes up.
Tremendous effort, but Marsh didn't have a chance.
It's good to see Marsh at full speed, though. I mean, I think he's a guy who hasn't really totally woken up tonight. He is a difference maker on the field. I mean, you mentioned if he can just put the team on his back a little bit. It's really true. He's the kind of guy who can put the team on his back and in a big game make a big play just like that one. I think he might have just woken up.
Sometimes it takes a big bid to get the energy going. Timeout, Los Angeles. We'll take it 2. Growlers leading by 2, but Jack Marsh retaking possession for his team.
Imagine you're in a new town for a couple of days, and you find yourself wanting a bike. Use Spin Lister to rent any kind of bike in your area in over 55 countries. Have an unforgettable adventure while saving up to 40% on rentals. And whatever you do, don't forget to enjoy your ride.
A look into the Los Angeles huddle. There's Steve Dugan, the assistant coach and the defensive coordinator.
That's funny to think of him as a defensive coordinator. Not that he shouldn't be, but he's just a guy that I always picture with the disc in his hand. But absolutely a legend in Southern California. There you get a shot of Jack Marsh getting a quick blow after a great sequence there. Jack Marsh, by the way, one of the best follows on Twitter you could probably make. He is truly entertaining, and he was, I believe, the guy tweeting for Pony for a few years. I thought it was the best stuff in Ultimate.
He is a clever, clever lad. Law school, became a corporate lawyer. Wasn't for him. He went back to rejoin the circus, which he grew up in. Circus Flora, entering its 29th year this summer in St. Louis. You know, Jack has asked me to be a part of the show. I don't know if that means he thinks I'm a clown, but they have something of a baseball theme, so I might actually record some baseball commentary as audio for them to use in the show. It was an honor to be asked.
Wow, that would be a ton of fun to see.
Have you ever done any clown work professionally?
Nothing comes to mind.
Just as an amateur then?
Right, never got paid for is what I was trying to say.
Here we go, Los Angeles needs to score here. Nice job keeping the possession alive. Boyd slides in the sideline. Swings it back to the reset, Alexander.
And you can just see these guys are moving at a different speed all of a sudden. It's getting to crunch time. Neither of these teams wants to lose, and you're starting to see it.
It's Alexander, and it was intended for Keoy. He thought he had the disc, but Milardovich also thinks he got it first.
Wow, big play from Milardovich. I mean, that was all but over. Right on the goal line, quick little dish, barely any room to get it. Keoy still stating his case.
And there is a timeout on the field.
But what a sick play from Milardovich.
Looks like a situation when both players thought they were there. And a critical mistake for LA. Let's see. I think that's a fine D from Steven Milardovich.
Certainly, I don't even see the argument. I mean, not to come down on Keoy there, but he clearly got the disc first. It is tough. I mean, those are bang bang plays, and a lot of times you're going on feel, you're going on what you're feeling in your hand, and you just feel the disc between your fingers, and you feel it kind of get pulled out, and you say, hey, wait a minute. But clearly, I mean, you know, on the replay, Milardovich beat him to the disc. This is turning into an exciting game. I think, you know, guys are amped up. Guys are moving, like I said, at a different speed. Didn't see Jack Marsh blow up until that last play, and you're starting to see all the cuts, all the precision, tighter angles, more focus. This is a big game for both teams.
So San Diego now looking to take some time off the clock, and if they can score, that's nice too.
I'm looking at Silverman out in the lane. What a scary prospect. When you're trying to huck, look for your first cut out the middle of the stack. I would not want to see Silverman guarding my guy.
He's chasing Cohen.
Yeah, there goes that option.
With the stall count rising, they reset back into their own end zone. Both teams really running hard, using every ounce of gas left in the tank. Deep shot here, could clinch it. Travis Dunn. This game might be done. Growlers back up by 3.
Every time a disc has been up and Dunn has been in the vicinity, he just comes online. He wants it, he goes for it, he closes out on this disc, and that's a big one to go up 3 with 2 minutes left. Dunn, what a night for him.
That was a long point, took over 4 minutes. And now it's a very steep climb. There's the D from Milardovich.
A great D by one of your leaders, one of your captains, and the shot goes up deep. We've seen a couple guys overthrow this exact throw. The wind's carrying a little more than it looks, and watch Dunn just accelerate, close out. Get a big goal for his team.
Showed up to Growlers tryouts from Arizona State. He was a collegiate water polo player.
So he's not tired.
We talked with Nathan White in San Francisco last week. He grew up playing water polo as well.
Wow, I think water polo and wrestling have got to be the two most exhausting sports you could play.
So Los Angeles doesn't have a whole lot of time to dilly-dally here.
You're right, they've got to close. I mean, they don't only have to score, they got to get the disc back a couple times too.
Friedman flicks it forward.
So a smart kind of prevent D from San Diego. Not going to give anybody a look towards the end zone.
Brooks resets to Friedman, but well, this is some nice offense here. It's not what the Aviators need. They need to take a chance and score quick.
That's right.
Well, there's one goal back, 19-17, but not much time left. You like that defense from San Diego, that possession, to clog things up downfield and force LA to take some time off the clock?
I do. I mean, I think LA still should have just thrown to a matchup early, like send a guy like Zach Theodore deep. I don't care if the guy's on him. Just throw it up and say, we got to get a goal. I don't know. We got to get a goal. Crash it off the backside, see what we can do. You can't afford to take a minute plus off the clock. But that being said, they do have enough time to get back in the game. They got to get a quick block here. Easier said than done, I suppose.
An intentional roller out of bounds.
So we're definitely going to see a double team here, and they're looking to quickly get a turnover. 7 seconds with the disc, got to get rid of it. They're not going to give you anything to look at. They'll probably take away the dump. Will Griffin's going to pick up.
Padula and Theodore on the mark. San Diego dumps it back, not quite off the sideline yet though.
Not sure about this defense. They really got to do a no dump there, I think. And now San Diego's milking that clock. And if you're San Diego, you really don't have to score. You just complete passes.
This is a game of keep away right now.
Right. If they guard you downfield, just run backwards. You don't need to go downfield. 7 more seconds on the clock. So here's another double team.
There have been so many frustrating close defeats for the Growlers, but San Diego is not going to start 0-5 again this year.
15 seconds.
After a overtime loss in week 1 and a 1-goal loss in week 2, the San Diego Growlers are going to taste victory in week 3. The final score, 19-17. To the delight of the hometown fans, it's San Diego victorious. A well-spirited game from both teams, pretty well officiated game as well. And Steven Milardovich able to lead his team to victory with the help of Travis Dunn and Nathan Bridges and Brian Zidd and Zeke Ivers, who in his second AUDL game had a bumpy effort last week. Ivers threw it away 3 times in the game last week, but today making plays on both sides of the disc. So the Growlers improve to 1-2. The Aviators fall to 1-2. These teams will meet a bunch more this season. And you can expect those games to be as tightly contested as all the others have been. Chuck Kindred down on the field with a post-game guest. I believe he's with San Diego's Travis Dunn.
All right, I'm here with Travis Dunn, who had an incredible night. This guy is not, well, I guess you're from this town, but he comes all the way from Tempe to play with this team. Travis, so much fun to watch you. You know, what was it like playing tonight in front of your home crowd, getting a win against LA, one of your rivals?
It's definitely nice to get a win, especially being our first of the season. I mean, tough first couple weeks. Week 1, losing overtime after we felt we had it at the end of San Francisco, and then these guys at their place last week to fight back at the end and lose by 1. We knew that we had it in us to come out and get them, but just had to make it happen, and it feels good to get away with a win.
So what possessed you guys? You know, there's a couple of you guys on the team that come all the way. You went to Arizona State and you're coming all the way from Tempe to play with this team. What made you want to play for this team?
Well, Nate and I, Bridges, we grew up out here, and when the prospect came up that they were having a team and we don't have one out there, we figured maybe we'd get in touch and see if we could get in and run with these guys. I mean, we've played against them in club series for 5-6 years now, so knew them from the other side of the disc and thought it might be cool to get out here and run with them on the same side of the field.
What's it like for you playing in the AUDL as opposed to playing club? You know, it's a different field, different rules. You know, what's it like as a new player in the league?
Oh, it's definitely tougher on defense, no doubt about that. There's a lot more space to cover, especially, you know, guarding downfield. You got a lot of ground to cover, and, you know, it's club, you know who you got to guard and you know who you can kind of lay off on and take a little bit of rest. Out here, everyone can play, so there's really no downtime on the field. You got to go hard and the whole time you're out there.
And is there, you know, watching you play, it seemed like every time a disc went up in the air, you kind of just came online, got fired up, and went to make a play. What's it like for you when a disc goes up to your man or a disc goes up to you? It seems like you hit another level.
I mean, that's kind of how I got my start playing the game, is just being a tall guy, trying to make a play on anything in the air. So still get that every now and then when, you know, once the adrenaline gets going, the disc goes up, I got to go get it.
Makes sense. Anybody out here you particularly like playing with or playing against?
Oh, I mean, I love playing with all these guys. This is mine and Nate's second year coming out here. I mean, grew up next door to him, been good friends for 20-some years now. So being on the field with him is like, you know, we know what each other's doing. So this year it's nicer playing with these guys out here in San Diego. You know, we got a year under our belt last year and got a little more familiarity. We feel a lot more comfortable, and, you know, I got a better feel for what they're doing. So it's a great group of guys. It's nice to, you know, get out here and play with guys that we've competed against for so long and, you know, develop chemistry with them as well.
Well, it was a lot of fun to watch. You know, your team seems to be coming together. You got a big season ahead of you. Best of luck.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks. Back to you, Evan.
Chuck, thanks so much. What a game that Travis Dunn had tonight, leading the San Diego Growlers in what was really a must-win game to the delight of their home fans. Again, that's really close. I don't think people want to... Hi, everybody. 19-17 was the final tonight as the Growlers get the win. They improved to 1-2, and they've got obviously a tough schedule coming up, as does everybody in the West Division. But an exciting game here at Balboa Stadium on this Saturday night, and we very much appreciate you being with us. Next weekend we'll be in the nation's capital to see the season opener for the Toronto Rush and the DC Breeze, game number 2 for the Breeze. That'll be a lot of fun. Look forward to being rejoined by Brian Jones, as we'll have that game for you next Saturday from Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C. But for tonight, Will Griffin, San Diego Growlers victorious 19-17. Despite some incredible plays from Jack Marsh and the Los Angeles Aviators, San Diego wins the 7th ever meeting. They have a 4-3 lead in the all-time series. For Chuck Kindred and our entire crew, Evan Lepler saying so long from San Diego. The Growlers get the win.